I went to school, I think. Before I say what I prepared to say, just in reflection of what Michaela and I did over here, I want to make it clear and just reiterate what Pastor John said. There's no such thing as a perfect person. There's definitely no such thing as a perfect missionary, not even close. The story that Pastor John told about me being in this church and initially being called to missions, it's absolutely true. I remember I was sitting in toward the back of the auditorium there when it happened. That was the first exposure and really the first calling that I can come back to and say, yes, that's whenever God was calling me to missions. But there were several times between that point and to now where even there were times where I said, am I making the right decision here? Is God really going to use me? I remember having a conversation actually with a missionary who was in Africa, and I told him, yeah, I really want to, but I don't know if now's the right time. I don't know if God can really use me. And he looked at me and he very bluntly and honestly said, well, why not? For me, I fear being inadequate. I fear being rejected. I fear ultimately failing, but we know what God says is that he is enough. There's no such thing as a perfect person. So just to back what Pastor John said, if you have had a call on missions in your life in any capacity, don't ignore that, and don't allow your own past or your present to get in the way of what God's trying to do. Okay. Sorry, that was for free. I thought of it whenever I was sitting down, so I thought I would share it. Thank you so much for inviting myself, my wife Michaela, and our daughter Everly, who's down in the kids ministry right now. Please say hi to her after the service. She would love that, and she'll be your best friend forever if you do. But when Pastor John asked me to come and speak this morning, he did ask me to give a short update on where Michaela and I are in terms of the process of getting over to Belgium. That's the country that God is calling us to. We are really, really close. I remember a year ago, whenever we gave an update, we were about 40 to 45% of our monthly support goal in terms of finances. God has shown up in ways that we at times didn't even think was possible, and we are $100 shy of our monthly goal. Once we reach that $100, we have the green light. We can then start talking about making it over to the country, which I know Pastor John has mentioned. We would love to see that come from Millroad Baptist Church, and we would love that to be the case. Now, practically, what that means is once that money does come in, there are some hurdles that we do need to get over in terms of getting a visa and getting over to the country, because believe it or not, it's actually become more difficult to get a visa in European countries recently. I was just having a conversation with somebody out in the lobby about that. We are working through that process. We've made some serious progress in getting the visas. We're kind of on a waiting list right now to officially be able to apply for those, but we are getting really, really close. Worst case scenario is we're able to go down to Atlanta, Georgia, where Operation Mobilization is. That's where their USA headquarters is, and we can begin the work there. So that's a huge thing. And just as a reminder, it's been a little bit of time since we visited. Just as a reminder of what Michaela and I are going to be doing, OM's mission, above all, is to see vibrant communities of Jesus followers among the least reached. We're going over to a place where less than 1% of native Belgians actually believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. They are top priority. We want to see them come to faith in Jesus. And the way that that's going to happen is we have a couple ministries we'll be focusing on. Me specifically is youth discipleship, youth development. A lot of my background is in children's outreach, also youth discipleship. So I'm going to be carrying that on in a different language, essentially. So that'll be fun. And then Michaela has a degree from Moody Bible Institute, where she was trained in counseling, leadership in women's ministry. Sorry, it's a mouthful. But specifically counseling women who have been brought out of human trafficking. Human trafficking is a very big thing in Europe, Belgium specifically, and even more specifically the capital of Brussels. It's a hot spot for that. And so Michaela and her training and her heart for those women, she's going to be spending some time with them and showing them the love of Jesus. And we are very, very excited for that. And Everly, who doesn't fully understand what it means to get on an airplane and go over to Belgium yet, she's also really excited to be able to jump in and be with her mom and dad, I'm sure. So we're really excited. And if you all have any questions at all, we do have a table out there. We're more than happy to speak with you after the service, answer any questions you have. We'd love to catch up with you. While I'm up here, I do want to share a little bit of my heart specifically toward missions. Obviously, it's been on my heart for the last 11 years or so that missions should be a central focus in the church. Just a couple months ago, mid to late August, Michaela and I, we were able to go to the Netherlands, specifically Delden, which is just outside of the capital of Amsterdam. We were able to go there with other OM missionaries and do some training, which while I'm thinking about it, that would not be possible without the support of the local church, which is you guys. So I want to say thank you so much, because without you, we would not be able to go over there and get that training. You all are behind that. And so we were able to go there, and we arrived and met nearly 130 other missionaries from all walks of life, all different countries. And something that I was a little bit surprising to me, and maybe it's not a surprise to you, but I'm going to tell you anyways, the majority of the missionaries that were at this conference were not American. They were not from the United States of America. A large percentage of them were, but that was definitely not the majority. There were dozens of languages represented, dozens of countries, home countries, and several destinations where these people were going to be sent out as missionaries. Just to name a few of them, just to give you an idea, we met a lot of people, but these are the ones that I thought of whenever I was preparing. We met a young man named Caleb. He's from Australia, has a great accent. I'm not going to replicate it. It's impossible. You have to hear it in person. He's going to a country that's closed off to the gospel right now. He's from Australia. A man named Rafa. He is from Brazil. He's going to a country in Europe. Irene, spelt like Irene. We were corrected a couple times. Do not call her Irene. She will not respond to you. Her name is Irene. She's from the Netherlands, and she's going to witness to the people in Ireland. There's another man named Hansi who we have the pleasure of going to serve with in Belgium. He's from South Africa. We met another girl named Cody from Hong Kong, another girl named Yesun. She's from South Korea. So we're talking about missionaries coming from all different corners of the world, come from completely different backgrounds other than our own. But there's something that each of these missionaries have in common. There are three things specifically. The first and most important thing is that each and every one of them have been saved by the gospel of Jesus Christ. Every single one of them. Which means before they were Christians, they did a certain thing. They lived a certain lifestyle. They followed their own ways, which ultimately leads to death. But then Jesus happened, and now they're doing something completely different. Now they're following Jesus. Now they love him, and now they're doing everything they can to serve him. And that brings us to the second thing. The second thing that all these missionaries had in common is that they said yes to the calling to go. Each and every single one of them, when approached with the opportunity of missions, they raised their hand and said, yes, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I love Jesus. I will go. Yes, Lord, send me. That's the second thing that they have in common. The third thing they have in common, which is where you all come in, is each and every one of them were supported by their local church in their home country. These are missionaries that are not being supported by the American church per se, but they're being supported by the local church in South Korea, Hong Kong, the Netherlands, Brazil, all over the world. The local church plays a huge role, not just in missions, sending out American missionaries or missions here. It takes place all over the world. We are a part of a much bigger story than what happens here in the north side of Evansville, Indiana. We are a part of a much bigger story, a story that we will not be able to fully comprehend until we meet Jesus one day. I want to encourage you all with that you all in this auditorium, if you have played any part in missions, that's a huge deal. You're a part of a bigger story. Romans chapter 10, verses 14 and 15. You all don't have to turn there, but I do want to read it to you. This is a verse, or a passage rather, that really spoke out to Michaela and I when we were in the Netherlands. It was something that almost became a heart cry for us in the last couple months of finishing up raising our support and preparing to go. Romans chapter 10, verses 14 and 15 says this: How then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. There are three groups of people that are talked about in this passage. Three groups of people. I'm going to point them out, and then my time will be up. But the first group of people are those who do not believe. These people are top priority. They are people who are not currently serving Jesus. They are not following him. They are those who have never even heard the name of Jesus before. There are people who there's not a translation of the Bible in their language. There are people all over the world. It's impossible to number. It's impossible to assign a number to the people who do not know Jesus, but I can guarantee you this, it's in the billions right now. It's in the billions worldwide. The unreached are in this passage, and that is why we go. They are the reason why we go. We don't do it to have fun in another country. We go to share Jesus with those people. The second group of people are the preachers, and I kind of shudder at using that word because I don't consider myself to be a preacher, but those simply mean the people who are being sent. They're the people who are saying, yes, Lord, send me. I want to go. I want to talk about you. I want to see people come to faith in you. I want people to know you. Those are the people who are being sent out. And every single one of us are in that category. If you claim to follow Jesus, you are a missionary. But there are certain people who are sent out to other countries to share that. The reality is that most people here in the United States and most people in any other country, they will never have the opportunity, or they will never take the opportunity to go and witness to another people in a country that is not their own. That's just the reality. Michaela and I feel blessed that God has called us to this. We feel like it is a huge blessing, one that we could not attain on our own. We do not take that opportunity for granted, but we also understand that not everyone gets this chance. But the third group of people that is in this passage are those not necessarily that are going to those other countries, but those who are senders. It says, how will they hear the gospel unless they are sent? There has to be a sender. The local church is the sender. They're saying, yes, you have a passion to reach that particular group. We can do that. We can pray for you. We can give you encouraging words. We can give our finances. We can come over and we can do trips, and we can support you in that way, and we can witness to that group of people for a short time. But if you're going for a long term, we want to send you. We want to be behind it. Every single person who takes a part in the global missions is important. You are a part of a bigger story. In fact, this passage says something to this nature. You have beautiful feet. I'm not going to make you take your shoes off because I will completely ruin the analogy that he's using here, because the moment you do, you're like, man, it stinks in here. This is not a good idea. But you have beautiful feet. If you're bringing the gospel to the person who's sitting next to you or the person who's on the other side of the world, you have beautiful feet. You have Jesus in you, and you're passionate about sharing that with other people. You have beautiful feet. This church has beautiful feet because you partner with missionaries every single day through prayer, through encouraging words, and through financial support. Do not take that lightly. Please do not take that lightly. And on behalf of myself, my wife, Michaela, and our daughter, Everly, I want to thank you. I want to thank you because what you all are doing here and supporting missionaries, including us, we could not do it without you guys. So again, if you have any questions, if you want to just talk, or if you want to learn more about Belgium, if you want to know what it's like to taste a Belgian waffle off the street, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. But we have a table out there. Come and see us. We'd love to talk to you.